Hi everyone. Oh gosh, wow. Today is Wednesday, about 4 my time. It's Jerusalem time. It's still early for you. I have already had a very productive day. I Susan picked me up about 9:30 today, and we drove to her town, which is Nes Ziona. Nes Ziona. I said, it's like 45 minutes from Jerusalem. It was really a good meeting. I met her staff. I saw the office. We had a little celebration for one young lady who was leaving, starting a new chapter in her life. But I met the team. I didn't take pictures. Remember, I'm just gonna be in the moment, and as I'm led, I will take pictures and stuff. Um, but right now, I'm sitting on top of the rooftop here. Sitting on top of the rooftop. Um, yeah, just sitting here relaxing. House is quiet. Yeah. Anyway, tell you about the very productive meeting I had with Emmanuel Tours. Very productive. Again, I met the team, and there was a man there who was also. So Susan said, "We have a very important meeting, not only with you, but another gentleman who's going to be bringing groups to Israel, but for the soldiers, the military, U.S. military, not just U.S. military, but U.S. military. Can't tell nobody, but U.S. military, FBI, Secret Service, kind of like that kind of thing. Just these people who are in positions of like law enforcement on a federal level. How about that? Law enforcement on the federal level. How about that? But they'll also work with their partners here in Israel, which would be, let's say, law enforcement on the Israeli side. Everybody knows it starts with an M. Anyway, so met him. His name is Daniel. He will be bringing a group of about, he said, anywhere from 40 to 75 of these law enforcement people over. And so I got a chance to talk to him. It was awesome. And Susan and Sergio and I, scheduled the next 4 2026 trips. Hot off the presses. Here we go. April, I have my dates downstairs. Experience Israel. That's 14 days, full on. Everything's on the table. We'll have of course, all of the new places and the familiar places, and always adding new things to do and new adventures. 14 days, full on experience, meeting the people in the land, going to meet congregations, and actually, worshiping with those congregations and doing service activities, things like that. Full on. The next one is they have a strategy. The next one is also so that's late May, late March, early April. Resurrection Sunday is in there, and Passover, Pesach. The next one is also in April, a week later. You heard it right. 1 week later. And that is what we are calling we call it the Selah trip. And the Selah trip is for anyone who's been to Israel before. That's anyone it would be their second time on. Because what we're going to do with that trip is we are going to go. You've already seen the Mount of Olives, you've already been to the garden, you've already seen some of those things, right? Well, this trip is going to be a very special itinerary where we are going to go off the beaten path. We're going to see things that they say that Tava has never experienced before. We're going to go and not only meet the ministries and congregations, but we're going to do things like uh, go on an archaeological dig site for the day and do a dig. We're going to do things that we've not ever done before. That's cultural, right? We're going to do things that are Israeli culture, but of course, always God-centered, always Jesus-centered, and always intentional about spending the time in the land. But this will be a very unique And I've let Susan, because they were kicking off stuff like places I never heard of, things to do. I said, just create me an itinerary and I trust you and go with it. But I did take some notes. But that one is called the Selah. And yeah, that's the Selah. And it's going to be for anyone who has already been to Israel before and wants to do something very unique and very different, right? We more than likely won't do like, oh, we're not going back to any place we've ever been before. So no, the second timers, it's not going to be the Mount of Olives. It's not going to be like, we will go to the Garden Tomb for resurrection. No, that's not actually. That's different. We won't have to go for Resurrection Sunday service. Anyway, they're building the itinerary for that and the dates. That one's 12 days. The first one, Experience Israel, 14 days. The rest of them I'm telling you about is 12 days. Selah trip, right? The next trip will be a pastor's trip. That's for any pastor who actually, it has to be a credentialed pastor, meaning that they have a church, they lead a church. Sorry, they are part of a church congregation and they have been ordained and they actually have credentialing to share that they are they have a church or a church under church leadership. So that is specifically for pastors, ordained pastors. And that's a 12-day, and that one is called, that's the pastor's trip. I gotta think of a name for that one. And then and that's in October. No. Yes, that's in October. I'll get you the dates for those. And then the last one is called the Shalom trip. And the Shalom trip is going to be the trip that's not as heavy paced. It's just going to be a mild to moderate activity level, meaning that majority of the time, the shuttle will be dropping us off in front of someplace. That's just more laid back, but it's less activity. It's less strenuous. There will be no camel rides. There will be no Jeep rides, because the first trip we're going to go on a Jeep ride. That's a heads up for all you people doing the April experience one. There will be no Banias water, nothing very, very strenuous, mild to moderate activity level. So full on Experience Israel, 14 days. Selah trip, 12 days. That's for second timers on. Third trip is for pastors only, and the fourth trip is the Shalom, and that is mild paced. We're just slow bugging it, right? So yeah, it was a really good trip. OMG. And I got invited to be a part of, gosh, I didn't want this to be 7 minutes. I got to be invited to be involved in a trip by from the Magdala Hotel. Invited Emmanuel Tours to be a part of this retreat that they're holding, for 3 days. And it's a women's retreat. And Emmanuel Tours is going to build a tour around that. And they asked for my thoughts and feedback and if I wanted to be involved. And what they're going to do is they're going to do a Women of the Bible tour. That means that throughout Israel, we spent 3 days in Magdala, right? That's at the sea in the north of Galilee. And then the rest of the time, we're going to be going throughout Israel to places where women, they call it the Women of Israel, where women have made significant impacts in the Bible and throughout Israel. And they're going to invite Israeli women speakers and leaders to be a part of that, to come and do learning sessions and things like that. Sounded fantastic. It sounded fantastic. That's in November. And they're going to start, since they got my thumbs up and yes, and said that I thought that was a fantastic idea. They're going to go ahead and move forward with it and build an itinerary. So if any of you ladies are interested in a women's only Women of Israel trip, November 2025. And the guide for that, if you were a forerunner, will be Valia. I told him I thought she was really good. So, and I said, keep it all women. Because he was like, do you want a, yeah, I was like, no, if it's a women's only retreat, it's a Women of Israel tour, then we definitely want to keep it all women. So sorry, gentlemen, but yes, this is a women's only tour for Israel. So, and on that note, and I'll share more, but Susan said, Money, with all of the things you got going on with JPB and now these tours, how are you going to do all of this? Oy vey. How? I'll leave to God. But I do know that I'm supposed to be doing them. That's the difference. That's the difference. So everyone, I'm going to sit here for a few minutes. I'm going to take a rest. And there's my friend, the lady who stays here also in one of the upstairs rooms. She's gonna be the guest. Her worship watch tonight at Sukkot Hallel is from 9 to 11. I can't make it. I've got a meeting at 9:30 Jerusalem time, 8:30 Jerusalem time. But I'm gonna probably just relax and do some work, JPP Indianapolis work, and then probably take a nap and get ready for this meeting. Everyone, I'm having a fantastic time. I'm having a fantastic time. I shared the steps with Susan of how I got to stay here, and she was just amazed. And I'm still amazed. So in the reality, I was supposed to have left Tuesday at 11:25. I think that's when my flight was supposed to have taken off yesterday. So anything after Tuesday at 11:25 is new territory. There are new plans. I have no plans. I have no agenda. Yes, I have a couple meetings that get thrown on my schedule, but other than that, I am just charting new territory to see what God has for me. I'm trying to give you guys something to look out, says me. Yeah, every step, every breath, every touch, every taste is something new and unexpected. So I'm just gonna walk it out and see what God. I have no worries. I have no concerns. I'm just gonna walk it out. It seems like all my prayers are being answered. If I pray something or even speak something, it happens. Guys, this is the level, and we've seen it and experienced it before. But all I wanted, okay, so for Shabbat they had challah bread and it was so good. Jesus, it was so good. But you get it from Shabbat, only around Shabbat. Otherwise it's in the fresh, right? Fresh baked. Otherwise they have some version of it in the supermarkets. So when I was going to the grocery store to get all of my stuff, I was like, man, I want some more of that challah. It would be so nice just to have a simple breakfast in the morning with some cheese and some bread and just some butter. Everything's very fresh here. If you've been here before, you know everything's fresh and lovely. And if you've never been here, it's a whole different world food-wise. I just wanted some bread, some nice butter, some good coffee, just simple. I'm simple. So I'm thinking this, and then I get in the taxi to take me back to my hotel, and the taxi driver picks me up, and he's talking and sharing. He said, here, I have something for you. I'm like, okay. This man pulls out a challah. Yes, ma'am. Break, you want? And I'm looking at it like, yes, thank you. Breaks off half the challah. Get this. And I'm looking at it, right? I'm like, I just prayed about this. And then he goes in the bag and he says, here, no, you need to eat it with this. And pulls out packs of butter that you can just open, the little containers of butter. Here, dip. Here, let me show you. So he shows me, breaks out the bread, driving. This man is just taxiing, like, Jerusalem traffic, right? He pulling out bread, dipped it in the butter, taste. I was just praying about me wanting some simple bread and butter. And this man gives me a half a loaf of challah, and some packets of butter. and sends me on my way with him. There, you. And then gives me his card and says, anytime you need taxi, you call me. You call me. Yeah, so that's what I'm walking in. So, just walking it out. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your prayers. I just don't have the words. I just don't have the words. I don't. Brigitte is the only roof, if you can see, here, let me show you. She's got a flat roof, right? Let me see, let's see if you can see. She's got a flat roof, so she can do this. So the neighbor next door has a flat roof, but they've got all that stuff on it. But if you look at the rest of the roofs, she's the only one. Look at this. As far as the eye can see, all the roofs up there, right? She's the only one who has this flat roof so that she can have this seating up here. She's blessed beyond measure, this woman. Love those. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.